As you might know, AARP works hard at the state capitol all year long on behalf of not just our 438,000 members across the state, but all Louisianans, to fight for issues that matter most to families. We talked a lot about caregiving earlier, since November is National Family Caregiver Month. But it's also things like healthcare, independent living, and of course, fraud. We talked a lot about fraud a little while ago. And each year, AARP has recognized a champion for the work they do to reduce fraud that helps to protect the 50-plus population, and really everybody. We look at it through the 50-plus lens, but it affects everyone. And that's in your communities, your neighbors, family members. For example, last year, the recipient of our Fraud Fighter of the Year was the Attorney General, who was helpful with kicking off our Fraud Watch network several years ago. And now we're here to formally recognize this year's 2025 Fraud Fighter of the Year. According to the FBI's 2024 Internet Crime Report, we talked a little bit about this earlier too, victims in Louisiana reported more than $36 million stolen in cryptocurrency-related fraud, with crypto ATM scam complaints rising 99% over 2023. Nationally, older adults lost more than $170 million to crypto-related scams in 2024 alone. This past session, Representative Wright championed House Bill 483, which was passed and signed by the governor into law later that session. This measure establishes new consumer protections that at virtual currency kiosks, which are, again, an increasingly common target for scammers. We talked about what happens when your mortgage company or someone impersonating your mortgage company or Social Security calls you, trying to exploit older adults. And Representative Wright's legislation will now help safeguard consumers by ensuring greater transparency, fairness, consumer protections, and accountability in the use of virtual currency kiosks across the state. And I will tell you this, we've heard from several detectives across the state that are already telling us that this is working. I told you about that. We've heard that there were several people who have tried to put money in and they've been stopped from doing so. So the law is working, and we're so grateful to have Representative Wright here. His efforts have gone a long way to protect consumers, and we are so appreciative and grateful for his hard work on behalf of you and behalf of all Louisianans. So again, join me in congratulating and recognizing Representative Mark Wright.
I'm going to tell you something. Bring my kids here to play sports. You never came to this pavilion before. This is beautiful. I mean, this is a real nice piece of work. But more importantly, this is the biggest meeting I think I've seen of a group all year, maybe all term. I mean, this is beautiful to see you all getting together and whatever you're doing in your meetings and things like that. This is great. A very nice surprise. So thank you so much for bringing me here. Thank you so much for the award. Let me just say a few things about it. Attorney General Liz Morrill, she actually had approached me through her deputy, Larry Freeman. He's a former colleague right here. I turned out I'm maybe the only legislator who knows anything about cryptocurrency and have done a few bills over the years. And so it's obviously something people don't completely understand yet, and they will. And we can get to those details in a moment. But so she was very much a part of doing this, and it was a pleasure, certainly working with Andrew and AARP. It's the first time I really had worked with AARP in the Capitol, not for any reason other than had been some bills somewhat related. So that was wonderful to be a part of. I think it's really good to see how this works. It's funny how Andrew mentioned some detectives saying it's working. I had a really neat experience last week or the week before. Sheriff in Jefferson Parish actually reached out to one of his legislators in Kenner, and we wanted to do legislation just like we did. And it's sometimes it's hard to keep up with bills and legislation immediately. It's only been a couple of months, and so she approached me, and I said, "Wait, we just did something on it. I don't know exactly what he wants, but how about this? I'm going to send it over to you. Tell me." And apparently the feedback was, oh, this is perfect, I'm so glad it's done. So obviously it's we hope it'll stay effective. We think we've done a good job with it, and if not, we'll fix it up down the road. I will tell you, having done a few bills with cryptocurrency, it's a bit of a Wild West right now. I'm not sure I understand why anybody would manage their money or do things with crypto through a kiosk or an ATM. So, that's just my opinion. Kind of got involved in 2020, moving forward. But certainly, it's the kind of place you got to be careful of. I do think down the road you're going to see some wonderful things come from it, and I'm certainly going to be a proponent of it. So I hope this doesn't scare people away down the road. Give it some time. In fact, there's 2 bills. One has passed. One is in the Senate at the federal level. That I think is really going to put some rules on the road for cryptocurrency and blockchain and everything involved. And that'll be a really good thing because the states. And I know this firsthand because when we did the bills in Louisiana, we were waiting for the federal government basically to take a step forward and take the lead. They just sort of have to in things like this. And it never really happened until about 2 years ago. President Trump brought in his team, and we saw how fast they put together some really good rules of the road. And we'll see the benefit of that probably by the end of the year. So, I'll just leave that there. You're always welcome to call me. I live in Covington, represent Covington. I've represented Covington or Madisonville and Folsom for about 7-8 years now. I'm in the last term, a couple of years left. So, but I'm always around. I'm happy to help with anything you got questions on. And so, again, thank you so much. Again, have a great one. Thank you.